Deepest apologies for that small break. Got flagged for a second. We'll stick to the guidelines that Facebook requires us to do so. We'll avoid a lot of copyrighted music, so we'll be playing something a little different today.
Come on and take my hand. That special place. Don't want this dream to ever go away. Oh, yeah. Take me there. Let's go all the way. I wanna go, I gotta go, so take me there. Take me there.
Talk about it. What you want, huh? 1 2 1 2. Yeah. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2.
1 2 check 1 2.
Yo, nowadays girls be out for the money and things, but to me it's so sweet when I'm running my game. I give them nothing but game till it's
We ready?
they brain. So once it's stuck in their brain, I'm from the game. I'm in the woman looking for a special woman that's gonna give me what I need anytime I want it. I take a cruise to Aruba.
Really, Makbul? Really? I see you dancing.
Tell me, you don't remember Puff Daddy and Mace.
The worst
doing that
dancers
dance.
in the history
All
of music.
Puff Daddy.
The worst dancers in the history of music. Even Whitney Houston stood a better chance. Trust us all. But yeah.
Let me tell you, it's good to have money. It's good to have money
Yes.
because no one can tell you anything.
Exactly.
He dances. You know the way we say white people have two left feet?
Yes.
Puff Daddy has 64 feet. And they're all
Imagine,
white.
he's a centipede with all of them left. All of them on the left side.
What's happening? Hashtag amped with Andre Makbo in coming live and direct from Pangani and Karen.
Yes. No, I mean Gara. Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Gara.
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 Sorry.
Gara.
Sorry. Gara is town. CBD.
Yes.
CBD,
Yes.
baby. And this lovely Monday, I want to celebrate, of course, everyone for waking up and, of course, just gracing the day, regardless of how tough it is to wake up and try and form a pattern. Because you know what, once you're in the house, we've tried for the past couple of weeks, we've tried, but you know what, the only thing that is solidifying us is this particular show, and we hope you're waking up with us. Today, magical special celebrating all things women. Last week, we were talking about masculinity and vulnerability on the vibe, and if you did tune into the vibe, know this, that now we have merged the vibe and amped with Andre. It's going to be one big amazing show, a big merger, sort of like CBA and NIC, but you know what, this is going to be that particular platform where we share just about anything and our thoughts and how we really feel about what's going on. Yes, current affairs, but some music as well. We're having copyright issues because we're still trying to find out how we can just play music, have fun without these guys telling us to pay copyrights.
Yes.
A lot of DJs we've seen in different platforms trying different things. It's an ongoing thing, and we thank you for bearing with us and tuning in. But today, we have a special guest. A fantastic. Where is our guest, Andre?
I've sent her the invite. Mkaribisha.
Right.
She'll join us soon. She'll join us soon.
She was sipping tea and she was getting ready. She's explosive, she's dynamic, she's powerful, she's a femme fatale. She is a woman I look up to. She is a recovering lawyer. She is anything and everything in between, a powerhouse and a mother. And you know what? It's going to be one of those shows. I know Andre and I really look up to her.
Oh, yes.
And the questions we're going to ask, be ready. Just be ready. Otherwise, big shout out to everyone tuned in. Nana, Andre Nana is live.
You lie. Hi, Nana.
Philomena is with us. Oh my goodness me. Cheesy is with us. Cheesy, thank you so very much for tuning in. Mr. David Moravi.
Yes.
Come on. That's
We
like
made
the
it.
show,
We made
man.
it, Makbul. We made it. We made it. How to?
David is with us.
Yes.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
As in,
done.
if any of those three was to just send a contribution of, say, a 20th of their bank account, we'll pay the doctors. We'll pay the doctors.
Awesome. Check out the M-Pesa number that we usually put up there, and if you're feeling sufficiently philanthropic, please show some love. We're not. What happened?
I forgot to put the M-Pesa number. I shall put it. I shall add it.
Don't-
I shall add it. I shall.
There's still time.
Yes.
There's still time. There's still- So, shall we get into it and then we come back with our guest?
Sure thing, sure
and
thing.
We begin?
All right.
See, the difference with me, when I do what I do what I'm doing it like I'm doing it for TV. Ow, keep your hands up. What? Put your hands up. Come on. Keep your hands up. We're back. We're back. Put your hands up. We're back again. Keep your hands up. We're back. Some of the days are free, my chips be right. Louis the 13, I'm a kryptonite. Goal on me is like Superman and kryptonite. So I pray I don't miss my flight. Switch tonight. Get out the plane, it all looks strange. See a man from Spain, holding up my name. Give my things and head down the back claiming. I hit somebody, scream my name. So I look back, look once, look twice. Look past, look left, look right. Look blank, look mean, or look nice. They try to tell me, honey, don't look right. So I approach her, it all look kosher. But there was kids running up with posters. And I was trying to lose sight of chauffeur. So I had to say, nice to know you, get ready. Whoa, 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 whoa. Get money all over again. Get money all over again. Come on. All out. Yo, it just so happened. This how mates they start. Flip 2 aces and get 2 face cards. It happens. Chip stacking. I turn around, see a bunch of chicks clapping. But a girl walked by, caught my eye. So I said, what the f? Stand here and give me luck. And she whispered in my ear, a purple one on there, put a pink one on there. I did just that and gave her the sex. Yeah, I'll be right back. In fact, I'm gonna be over here talking to love. She said you've been around the world, been so many places, hit so many girls and spent so many faces. And every girl in the world knows faces. But right now, that's really not what the case is. Let's be real. I know you got bills, so how about one night and I just give you a meal? What you feel? Whoa, 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 whoa.
What's up, boyfriend?
You'll meet my girlfriend.
Meet my boyfriend.
This is my girlfriend.
This is my boyfriend.
So what's up, girlfriend?
So what's up, boyfriend?
You know, what's up? I can't get her off my back. Gave her a little love, she don't know that. She be getting mad 'cause I don't call her back. I didn't know honey gets down like that. Now I gotta watch
Entree addiction.
this female is a fatal track. Maybe 'cause she got a simple to jack. She didn't know I puts it down like that. That's why girlfriend on the phone. So I call me all day on the telephone. Girl, I'm a freak because she ready to go. Baby girl, so I leave me alone. She keep paging me, calling me, stalking me, hugging me, following me, telling me that she loves me. Girl, just handle it. I can't handle it. Just handle it. I can't handle it. Just handle it. I can't handle it.
Okay, now I'm in the spot where I wanna be. Money spent, getting bent, chicks in front of me. Just the way I like it. Funny's turning something. I got a seat up in the cut and I'm burning something. Fruities dance around and I'm feeling ones. Off the top of the stairs and I'm feeling buns. Plus some dolo at the table. I'm with this chick with the fat fatty and the ring up in the navel. Dances around, she struts with the walk. Touches her toes so she can make her butt talk. Do what you gotta do. I ain't mad at you. Know a lot of famous women seen none as bad as you. You's a real bad girl and nigga need that. Sipping on your Henny, asking where the weed at. Let me put you on to something. You f***ing with a big nigga, no frontin'. Yeah, so turn it around, let me see something. With me, for real, it's gonna be something. I'm talking lights, camera, action. And me singing, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Turn it around, let me see something. With me, for real, it's gonna be something. Yeah, I'm talking lights, camera, action. I'm sorry,
No matter what people say, we got it going on. Who cares about what they say? Would you come at me? You I can do that, baby. No matter what people say, we got it going on. Who cares about what they say? Shake the body to keep it on. Got you crazy. Everywhere I go, red car. Gave the keys to my late total park. Then I jumps out the door. Little Kim or girls making faces like Ace Ventura. And my VAD, GIR, LS is in the stretch. Ellis ain't shit you could tell us. Even got some of these jealous. But tonight ain't about the fellas. Bulgari perfume from a mile, you smell us. Model agencies say it's easy to sell. We got sex. Keep it real. If I didn't have a deal, I'd still be worth a mill. Depending how I feel, I might go on a heist. So at my wedding, I could throw ice instead of throwing rice. We fly like kites, never get in the fights. I got a whole bunch of on no matter what people say. We got it going on. Who cares about what they think? Won't you come and you know I can do that, baby. No matter what people say. We got it going on. Who cares about what they think? Shake your body.
Entree addiction.
Look, she's one like Saint Laurent. My garms are from Italy, I feel like the Don. Paris Fashion Week, I'm watching Louis Vuitton. So her favorite rapper, listen, now she feeling my song. But everything she do is for the media. I might duck you through your bridge and I don't need ya. Your ex is always trying to follow, I'm a leader. Her body tight, she looking hot up like a fever. Got me looking eager.
I only trust girls on days that don't end with a why. Don't ask why, you can never see trust. Catch up, you can never keep up. Wrist froze if we ever freeze up. You know, say we flex and we set, so we like. You know, see the money, man, it's like you turn blind eye. Ooh, 5 bags, that's a bad night. Ooh, we get her money, now she like life. Fucked her with the blindfold, she ugly like me. She not said nothing, she just thought I was a freak. You can get a cracking when I see you on the street. Not like a nigga, you don't want beefs. You know that they do this for real, mama. You know that they catch him, they kill mama.
New group called Steel Bangles from the UK. Listen to this.
One like Saint Laurent. My garms are from Italy, I feel like the Don.
Steel Bangles. The track is called Fashion Week.
Favorite rapper, listen, now she
really love the song.
But everything she do is for the media. I might duck you through your bridge and I don't need ya. Your ex is always trying to follow, I'm a leader. Her body tight, she looking hot up like a fever. Got me looking eager. Remy in my cup got me seeing every painting twice. And now I'm feeling nice, no mixer, just ice. Said I'm too cold, baby, that's the ice. Free my niggas out of scrubs doing deals for the rice. You're taking pics, but when you back the beef, I'm a VIP for real with these stacks on me. Tryna beef with you, I love, that's a catastrophe. Cause we all came up out the mud like it's Glastonbury. Fendi on my belt, match my pretty brown miss. And my Henny super red, that's some expensive brown piss. She says she wants tequila, but I ain't about this. I don't really drink Patron when I ain't around, miss. And I hate makeup, that's your choice though. Rest assured, you can't get up in this Royce though. I'm up on all of my ups as far as points go. Cause no one's copping what we're copping with this coin flow. She's one like Saint Laurent. My garms are from Italy, I feel like the Don. Paris Fashion Week, I'm watching Louis Vuitton. So her favorite rapper, listen, now she feeling my song. But everything she do is for the media. I might duck you through your bridge and I don't need ya. Your ex is always trying to follow, I'm a leader. Her body tight, she looking hot up like a fever. Got me.
Never waste your time, never let you go. Top down, back to back, you the best I know. Oh yeah, you did blow my mind, blow my mind, blow my mind. For your love, I go change my life, change my life, change my life. Yeah, but come here to your dance, make us spend ego. Dirty white for me, I say so. So many nights I dey wait for my time to get you all alone for one night. You do me something no lie, I go mad for your type. I want to do you whatever you want. Freaky, freaky for you. Show me what you're into. Girl, you just dey blow my mind, blow my mind. Your body, blow my mind, blow my mind. Girl, you just dey blow my mind, blow my mind. Your body dey blow my mind, blow my mind.
From your water, give me a cup. I ain't just wanna sip, I'm tryna steal your love. I'm guilty of it. I don't give a shit about who telling all our business when I'm killing it, when I'm feeling it, kissing it and turning to an animal. Yeah, girl, I fuck with her attitude. Angry and you're dangerous. It don't matter, no. Cause your body controlling me. It don't matter now. And I know you see the same vision. Nobody gon' change how we live. Nobody gon' change how I feel about you. I want to do you whatever you want. Freaky, freaky for you. Show me what you're into. Oh, girl, you my mind. Your body blow my mind. Girl, you just you.
Fully ready. Hope she's ready. I don't know if you should introduce her. Maybe you do the introduction, Makul.
It feels surreal. It feels like a Monday morning back in 2016 or 2015, and I'm like, why am I at home?
Feels funny, eh? Feel like you're cheating on your job, eh?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have sung praises about this woman before she came into the show. I have sung praises about her on platforms, various platforms across the year.
And Makbul is a very bad
It is my
singer.
great honor.
Makbul is a very bad singer for that. Just so you know, to put that at the back of your mind, yeah?
Ngamau, there are no words that I can band it together to introduce you, my love. But, ladies and gentlemen, the Renee Ngamau with us.
Yeah! Where? Where is she? Where is she? There she is!
I'm concerned on so many levels.
Yo, like, this is so surreal. Last night, I couldn't sleep with excitement, just trying to think how this show can, first of all, we can get through this show, and then trying to create something different away from what people actually remember us for. Because every time you check Twitter or Instagram or all these platforms, there's always someone who says, I can't get over that particular show. I don't know if it's the same for you, Ngamau or Andre.
It is actually the same. There was a lot of chemistry in studio and off the studio as well, because we would still do functions together as a core team, and it was just gel. But let's hear it from the lady.
First of all, this is just insane. Oh my goodness. Like Monday morning with the two of you, it's like deja vu, but not, because I'm in my house and you're in yours. But so I'm super excited. And on top of that, first of all, well done to the two of you for putting this show together. I think it's brilliant. So yes, and what a way to start the week. And how unusual is it, hey, these times? Oh. Plus, now that we're here, I will try. First of all, my pledge is not to be too controversial. But given that I already noticed that Andre did not censor any of his music.
Anything goes.
Controversial, diwe na mayako.
But what has changed? What has changed since then? I never used to censor anyway. Think about it.
Although, I must confess, I did see McBull's eyes twitch, like his eyebrows raised. And he looked to the side as though he was waiting for Danny or someone to walk into the studio door.
It feels the same. It really feels surreal. And something about working from home as well and cuss words. Last week on The Vibe, having Amani and Ian Bugwa, and we were chatting about, masculinity and vulnerability. And in between, we were kind of honest, and we're talking about, sex and whatnot. And I forgot I'm at home. My youngest was standing right next to me. And so afterwards, I finished and I'm like, oh, that was a good show. And turns to me, he's like, what sex? Yo, working from home is just totally different from anything that we have ever gotten used to. But it seems like it's going to be the norm. It seems like this is how we're going to be living after this. I'm not quite sure how it has been for you, Renee, and what your thoughts are on the pandemic as we're going along.
I think maybe this is the new normal. I think maybe we lived through an abnormal, and that this is going to be the new normal, because we can already see. I mean, first of all, Kenya is like Exodus. Okay, it's like the book of Exodus. We started off with, we had drought. I don't know if anyone remembers, but in like November we were panicked because we were in drought. By December we were in floods. January we had locusts. Here we are in March with the pandemic and with landslides and more flooding. Someone just call Pharaoh. Call Pharaoh and find out how he's...
I'm like, the frogs are coming. The frogs are coming.
No, we've had, wait, hang on. Even before you talk about frogs, we've had, what are those? Narrow bee flies or Nairobi flies, depending on whatever you say. We've also had that. Remember that? Yes.
Yes.
So it's like, and so and you don't know what else is on its way. So I think this is the new normal. I think we've got to adjust the way in which we live. And I think it's a good thing, actually. I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually think it's a good thing.
Exactly, because a lot of people have been dwelling on the fact that, the negative aspect of staying at home. And I think this is something that a lot of Kenyans just, it's a peer thing. Just because someone is complaining about, how they lack movement, how they're getting frustrated, doesn't mean that all of us have to celebrate the same thing. There are many things that I think that are positive. I'm not quite sure you can share your opinion on this about staying at home. I'm a bit of an introvert, so I stay at home a lot of the time, and you know this. And I find so much solace in spending time with my boys and seeing them grow. And because it's seeing them grow every single minute, you see them becoming something that you didn't even think about, that growing personality. Spending time with a spouse who you haven't done so in a long time, and actually just being in an abode, a fortress of solitude, so to speak, where you can gather your thoughts. But it's not that way with a lot of Kenyans. People try and avoid their homes and their houses and their families.
Well, understand this, that it's very difficult to be in a place where you hadn't built or you hadn't invested in. And I don't mean building a house. It's building a home. It's about going back to those relationships that we take for granted because they're always going to be there, because they have to be there. Your wife has your children, your husband has your children. So you have to be related to one another for whatever it's worth. And now suddenly we're being asked to re-examine those relationships and to create something. And what we're being taken away from, I think, in this period is from the urgent and the noise and the flash to the important and the fundamental. So if the relationship with your spouse was not good before, it's going to show up now in all its true colors. Ooh, and hell, there are many of those. And then you get a choice. You get to be the victim of your own relationship, or you get to decide to do something about it and to create something, both of you, mind you, to co-create something. Also, it's such a time of flux. I mean, like all the different things that are happening. There are people today who are watching, I'm sure that, they're wondering about whether their jobs are going to continue to be there, whether their businesses are going to continue to flourish. You can already see perhaps your business has been interrupted. For us in the legal profession, it's just been hectic because the courts are closed, the registries are closed, there's hardly any movement. And you've got to think, actually, what do I do with myself at this time? So I think it's a new normal, and I think there's so many opportunities here. I mean, look at you and Andre. You'd have never thought to go live had this not happened. How many other things have people thought of creatively? How many skills did you have before that we were sitting on, but now we're thinking about a little bit more, precisely because of this time? So I think this is the new normal. And P.S., any boss who used to say, I can't hire young women who are going to get pregnant or who are just married because they'll be working from home. Andre, play some music before I say something rude.
Until Andre, check us out, leave a comment, and of course, M-Pesa number is there. Feeling sufficiently philanthropic? Drop something.
It's easy. Magic finger.
Never waste your time, never let you go. Top down, back to back, you the best I know. Oh yeah, you did blow my mind, blow my mind, blow my mind. For your love, I go change my life, change my life, change my life. Yeah, but come here to your dance, make us spend ego. cup. I ain't just wanna sip, I'm tryna steal your love. I'm guilty of it. I don't give a shit about who telling all our business when I'm killing it, when I'm feeling it, kissing it and turning to an animal. Yeah, girl, I fuck with her attitude. Angry and you're dangerous. It don't matter, no. Cause your body controlling me. It don't matter now. And I know you see the same vision. Nobody gon' change how we live. Nobody gon' change how I feel about you. I want to do you whatever you want. Freaky, freaky for you. Show me what you're into. Oh, girl, you just blow my mind. Your body, blow my mind. Girl, you just you, your body,
I'll be 20 minutes see you on the corner. Pane road hotter than a sauna. Analisa Daniela Misicala. Bobu get up, Bobu say the water. Send me get a text. That's the from me crib. Walk right past me ex. Me see I set a twin. Double using. iPhone ring. Just I come from the Oxford Street. It's just me need a drink, no run with me. If you want it, let me see a light your tree. Below the girl, she said she half Chinese. Then they go and go party. Naughty. Them a go and they want go past me. But they naughty. Boy, I say, I have to take a bit over. Me take the henny like we never was over. See me enemy, me look for me soldier. They wanna see the friend in Super Soccer. It sing like
Have you seen that girl? Seen that girl before? You can see it in her motions, yeah, she knows. Got a mind to get, she can take it slow. Take it slow. If you ain't seen me lately, don't you worry, cause you see, I realize the secret to my worth. Whatever happens, I'll put me first. Put me first.
Something's wrong from the Kenyan community. Miss Caroon, glow
I
up.
never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, oh, hold up, let me explore, yeah. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, oh, baby, I'd like to know, yeah. I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, hold up, let me explore, yeah. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, yeah, baby, I'd like to know, yeah.
Entree addiction.
Oh, why won't you buy me sometime that I wouldn't need back? Oh, you know there's moments I wish I could go back and tell you.
Entree addiction.
Tell you any time to know you. Tell you I've been trying to show you how far this thing could go if we just hold space for love in a higher plane. I love you, by the way. See, we all bleed the same. I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, oh, hold up, let me explore, yeah. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah.
I cannot tell who is my friend. I need distance between me and them. And they have to teach me how to love again. God knows crying. God knows I'm trying for you. God knows I'm trying. God knows I'm trying for you. Your mind impure, so luscious. He knows it. Anointed and protected, I was chosen. My heart is way too frozen to get broken. Yeah. I see man turn fool for the money one too many times. I seen some girls turn their back on their best friend from time. I heard you say things that you can't take back, girl, no time. I need you to go easy and fix up some time. I cannot tell who is my friend. I need distance between me and them. And have to teach me how to love again. God knows I'm trying.
DJ Andre, The Addiction, taking you back to the good old days. Sit back and let the music do its work for you today. Courtesy of DJ Andre. DJ Andre. The Addiction's about to whip out his 12-inch. Keep it locked.
If you got a lover in your life, then why you acting like you don't know? You know, say now easy be the man we make you shine all night. If you got a lover who can give you the charge when you're low. Tell me what's the reason why you steady blowing off my line. Trying to make you feel blessed. Give you daily blessings. Tonight, nothing serious, so we just one flex. God bad man confessing. Girl, I wanna talk about the things that we go do so jam. I want me make me jam, oh yeah. Come into my life, oh baby, come on baby, make me jam. I want me make me jam, oh yeah. Come into my life,
we ready?
Come on baby, make me jam. Girl, I'm loving your energy.
Hashtag amped with Andre, and this sounds so surreal saying this with Renee and Ngamau on Facebook. It sounds so surreal. So surreal. Feels like another time and place just on social media. Man, so many memories. So many memories. And why I'm saying memories is because a lot of people writing in on comment section. Thank you so very much. And they're loving the reunion. Loving it. Loving it. Loving it. Hey, Adero Mwango, Ochola, Isaac Kabudha, Konde, and already the ladies are like, yeah, the boss who said I couldn't fuck because I'm pregnant. You see what you started already? 10 seconds later.
Come, baby, come. I haven't even gotten started yet. That was like a warm-up. Shout out to everyone who's listening in. Thank you ever so much. It is a reunion. It's fantastic, and it's been much too long. I'm just so proud of the two of you. And to, yes, everyone who's sat at home with bosses who are telling them what they can't do or businesses that are failing, this is the time to put on your creativity hat. We all thought, in studio, I was really clear, okay? I'm the cerebral one. I just operate over here. The rest of my body its function is to run this part. And McBull's the creative one. He's acting and singing, and I don't know. He's doing all these things. I'm like, oh my goodness. But here's the thing. We've now all got to put on our creative hat. And creative isn't just singing and acting or art, although that is a really, really important part of the way we express ourselves. It's also looking at what skills do you have and what do people need. Remember that Maslow's hierarchy of needs from when we were I don't know, in what I can't remember, economics perhaps. And you sort of went from basic needs to self-actualization, right? And all of life thus far has been towards self-actualization. In fact, I was listening to you guys when you were talking about some of the insecurities around men and some of the stress and stuff like that. And I thought, how much of that is the pressure to self-actualize before you have gone through these other stages? But right now, in this time of COVID, if you're looking for a business, FYI, this is just like a quick tip. Go back to the lowest rungs of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. People need to eat. People need to dress. People need, like, just what are the basics? And then what's been taken away from us? Social interaction's been taken away. So where can you get it? And where can you get the kind of interaction that you want? Because COVID, I've been like really, in my time away, I have hired a Swahili teacher. COVID, haitaki makasiriko.
There she is. There she is. You all thought that I used to Renee when she can't speak Swa. Now you can see her. Trying. See her.
Haters.
It's true. It's totally true. My Jackie Makasiriko Kabisa. It just needs for you to see what you can actually do and put it in motion. Like Andre and I were just talking, saying, you know what? We've missed hanging out. We've missed going out and just enjoying the music. How's about you do something online? And then it became something big. And I thought, you know what? All these comment section comments, someone needs to read them because they're so entertaining and interesting. And I started reading them and it became something else. So yes, there is opportunity, a lot of opportunity if you just look at what is there that people need. And we're talking to some guys about something huge that is AI related to be introduced around the country. And that's just the thing. Looking around the world, people are trying to, recreate social settings online, which is really, it's good because you don't feel alone. But on the other side of the spectrum, just touching back to what we were talking about, we've seen as well the rise in domestic violence cases. And it's really an interesting conversation and a difficult conversation because now it's not as if you can get out and go somewhere. It's not as if you can leave. There's a sense of being grounded now. How does one tackle that? How does one begin talking about that? And especially from the women's angle, how do you deal with it?
So, gender-based violence, and I won't just talk about domestic violence for women because violence is on the increase, and it's on the increase not just against women, but against men and also against children. And it's important to just note that there's just an increase of violence, particularly intimate and partnership violence. So intimate family-based violence, and also just violence neighbor to neighbor, okay? And violence isn't always just the hitting. It's everything that comes with it, the sense of insecurity, the threats, just everything, and that's on the increase. And I think what this period has really shown is how broken our society is. Let's just face it. Let's call it what it is, and then we can try and see how we can fix it, but let's call it. Our society right now is broken. And if we are kettled, as we are right now in Nairobi and in Mombasa, and even in other places where, even though you can travel, it's a lot more limited, we begin to see our true selves. And what it is that we had brushed or swept under the carpet is now showing up in terms of gender-based violence. Here's the thing. Because we all know that this is a period of extraordinary stress, if you're not able to provide, if you're not able to show up as the man or the woman who you used to be able to show up as, if you do not have those release valves where they used to be, you can't go to the pub, or you can't go to your prayer meeting, or you can't go to your chama, or meet up with the girls or the guys or whatever it is, you've got to recreate a new way of releasing that valve. That's number one. Two, this is the time when our social networks really count. And our social networks does not mean, me here and you over there, that we see each other during the week, but not much more. But it's literally your neighbor. It's time to be our neighbor's keeper. This is time to be our brother's keeper. There wasn't ever a time like that. But I think also that it has really shown up in terms of our police service and the fundamental weakness in our police service. I mean, we're always on and on about them, but we've now seen what the problem is when you do not have the correct ratio of police to community, when you do not have dispute resolution that does not require that someone be taken to jail, but that they can just be removed. Because sometimes what needs to happen is for someone just needs to be removed for a minute to go and sit. And this is actually a technique that is used in some of the developed countries. You're asked today, you cannot be at home. You must go and check yourself into a hotel or check yourself in somewhere so that you can be away. And that enables the release of just that stress. And the other thing also is because our courts are very quiet, they're not functioning at full level, and the police stations cannot take in.
Sorry, Renee, just a quick one. Your network seems to be hanging a bit. These challenges that we're facing as well.
My network.
There you go. There you go. You're back. Continue.
Am I back? Good. Okay. Excellent.
There you are.
I don't know where I left you off, but also, if we look at you can't take people to the police station today because, of course, of social distancing, and we want to ensure that we do not spread one virus while trying to solve another problem. So how do we become our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper? How do we engage? Now we've got to lean in. There's nothing like, it's a home thing. No. It's a community thing because we will lose people. And we're already seeing communities where they're losing community members because you hear the screaming, then you're just like, that's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
That was the old kind of thinking.
Yeah. Just going back to self-actualization, and I'll tie it into what we're talking about because it feels like our problems are deeply rooted into culture, tradition, and how we were basically raised. It's like we're raised as a unit, and we think as a unit. Self-actualization is not self anymore. It's group actualization. So if you haven't hit the targets, if you haven't hit the buy land, if you haven't hit the buy house, if you haven't family and buy built a Simba back in Shags, you're not man enough. If you don't have you're not married by 24, you don't have 2 kids, you're a failure, you're considered a failure. And that kind of system has been established from when we were young. Call it colonial, call it whatever it is, but it's a set standard that is carried across. You can see it in different platforms, from Facebook to Twitter, and it's across Kenya. How we talk to our women is it hurts these days to see that, because when we stand up, some men stand up, you're put down. You're put down on how you're weak. You're put down on what are you saying? Are you trying to just get laid? What's your problem? Why are you not standing up as a man? And it's this collective voice that we need to find out what the genesis is. Could it be our culture? Could it be our tradition? Could it be our faith? Could it be how we were raised? All these things put together might be the genesis. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm going to differ with you a little bit, Makbul. We no longer have the luxury to find out what the genesis is. The genesis of anything is always based on the past. It's always based on what happened before.
Sorry, Ngamau, we've totally lost you. You are frozen.
She's actually there.
Like Frozen 1. Let's just see. Andre?
She's actually there. She's moving.
It's totally frozen. Totally frozen now.
Oh, yeah,
it's you who's frozen, bully.
Yeah.
Now all of you are frozen.
Sorry, go on as I refresh. Go on.
It's you who needed to refresh. I'm telling you. Technology. It goes sweeter.
Sorry, you were saying.
We can no longer, we can't afford to look at what the genesis of things were. Genesis is always based on the past. Genesis is always based on what happened and what worked in the past. This is a new normal that we have never lived through. We've got to rewrite every single script. We've got to tear up every rule book. If before we could afford to hit women or slap children or, pressure men into providing, this is a new normal. It's all hands on deck. So where it came from may have worked for those times. I don't know. I don't think so. But where we are now requires a whole new manuscript. And that is what we've got to be brave enough to do going forward. Everything else that was in the past, the end. It's a whole new world, ladies and gentlemen. It's a whole new world.
Absolutely, and we're racing and embracing it as should be. It's a new day, as Renee is saying, and I'm glad we had this conversation, of course, last week as well, saying how you need to be vulnerable as men, which is vulnerability is the beginning of strength, as says Renee Brown. These Renee names, Unachanganya lakini ni sawa. Wisdom. Listen, it's about 27 past 9 o'clock as I check my technicals on this side, thinking that it's everyone else and it's my fault. Andre,
yes,
shall be supplying some uncopyrighted music so that we might not be arrested. Thank you very much.
Nasimi nimeimba. It's not me who sang them. It's not my own production. But hey, let's go.
Andre addiction.
I wanna show you to the world so you can see that, baby girl, you were my destiny. Anywhere around the world that I can be, just know I'll be thinking of Ain't nowhere better in this world I'd rather be, cause baby girl, you're all I'm trying to see. Don't you know it's you and me? Girl, you are the one, so for mommy, I finally found what I'm looking for. All I need, so for daddy, yeah, we're ready, you know the score. You are the one, so for mommy, I finally found what I'm looking for. All I need, so for daddy, yeah, we're ready, you know the score. I see my future in your eyes. You unusually divine. Show that shit you are, show my shit you are. Show that money, show my shit you are. I see my future in your eyes. You unusually divine. Show that shit you are, show my shit you are. Show that money, show my shit you are. Girl, in your eyes is how I know my love can see. The perfect satisfaction is all you bring. I wanna keep you in my world, that's guaranteed. I know I'll be thinking of Ain't nowhere better in this world I'd rather be, cause baby girl, you're all I'm trying to see. Don't you know that you are the one? Girl, you are the one who saved me. I finally found what I'm looking for. It's all I need, so from daddy, yeah, we're ready, you know the score. Girl, you are the one, so from mommy, I finally found what I'm looking for. It's all I need, so from daddy, yeah, we're ready, you know. I see my future in your eyes. You unusually divine. Show that shit you are, show my shit you are, na na na. Show that movie daddy, show my shit you are, na na na. I see my future in your eyes. You unusually divine. Show that shit you are, show my shit you are, na na na. Show that movie daddy, show my shit you are, na na na.
I know you want me. Every day, not only when you're lonely. Yeah, you see, you think you know me, but you don't even know nothing about me. Yeah, you see my thick thighs, lost when you look into my brown eyes. You see my little ways can make you switch sides. You never know the devil in a disguise. So why don't you stand up, baby? And tell me, do you want me on top? So let me show you. I don't need to back it up. Don't wanna hold you, mold you, slow, just split you in half with my heart. I just wanna love on you, trust in you, honor you, please do the same on your part. Be honest, you want it, but I can be heartless, regardless of my conscience. Be honest, you want it, but I can be heartless, regardless of my conscience. Hold me, never said you're gonna do that. Move me, never said that you would do that. No, love me, never said that you would do that. No, babe, look what you do to me.
Baby, I'm chilling outside. Baby, come and look into my eyes. Yeah, I know the feeling is right. Yeah, I just need you tonight. Baby, baby girl, you're coming around. I know you're staying around because you never wanna leave. Bumper clock, and then I go in and out, and then I hear your sound saying I'm everything you need. Ooh, yeah. You wanna know where we can go? All the way to Fernando. You wanna be my Nintendo, but you gotta know I don't play no games.
Say it's true. I'll be a mess here without you, and I'll hold you down. You don't need to stress me. Just let apologize.
She making me weak check, grind a check, raise that check and got the light I check. Roll the weed and let me smoke this and send me. You can lay up on my chest. She making me weak check, grind a check, raise that check and got the light I check. Roll the weed and let me smoke this and
I don't know what to do. Nimekuwa kama wazimu. Mahabuba ni wewe tu. You are my sun and moon. Mfalme wangu, and you will always be a part of me. It's plain to see without you I could never leave. Nishike mkono, stick with me. Please don't go, 'cause that smile, your eyes, a big heart you have inside. I don't think that you know you make me feel so you're like a bright and sunny day. Anyway, you make me so happy. That smile, your eyes, a big heart you have inside. I don't think you know that you make me feel so you're like a bright and sunny day. Anyway, you make me so happy. If you could give me a minute or two, usiende, usiniache, kwani I know I'd follow you. Tabia yako, urembo wako, believe me, I know you will always be a part of me. It's plain to see without you I could never leave. You shake and gonna stick with me. It's no good. Heart you have inside. I don't think that you know you make me feel so you're like a bright and sunny day. Anyway, you make me so happy. That smile, your eyes, a big heart you have inside. I don't think you know that you make me feel so you're like a bright and sunny day. Anyway, you make me so happy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Sema shungwa uko vipi? Will you silenge sitishi hizo namba? Sema shungwa uko vipi? I just wanna take it slow, maybe slow. With the likes of you I hope you grow. I just wanna take it slow, 'cause you're so beautiful. There's something about you, girl, that's calling out to me. I know it's divine, more like I need you. There's something about you, girl, that's calling on to me. Is it your style? Maybe your eyes, maybe something simple. Is it your style? I don't know. See, I just feel you. I just wanna let you know you're so beautiful.
Entree addiction.
Itakuwaje unizungushe na nisipate, baby. Itakuwaje unifurahishe unichanganye kisha ukaje, hata ukinihemesha bado nitaikunja baby all night. Yeah, oh.
There's no justice in Nairobi, no justice. It's just the anger of 4 generations who close their eyes to prayer and open them to slavery. Ooh, yeah. With crosses on their backs. And now is the resurrection. And we're striking the match to set the world on fire. Set the world on fire. Hot breath of hungry people screaming in the face of the policeman. But policeman is confused. He's underpaid, overused, and sleeps behind a scared door. You see the rage runs deep in the soil of our blood. The farms are bearing fruits of wrath. The granaries are on fire. The people asking why are we so damn poor. So set the world on fire. Who gives a damn? Set the world on fire. And tonight now, set the world on fire. Set the world on fire. Yeah, if you want to talk about history, if you want to kneel at my feet and say you're sorry, if you want to unchain me, to free your soul, to free your soul, I'm burning my fire. Ta-na-na, set the world on fire. Who gives a damn? Set the world on fire. Ta-na-na, set the world on fire. What is peace?
Awesome. Set the world on fire. That's the one and only Mr. Eric Wainaina. Yes. And I'm trying to remember the world of fire. What album? I think it's the last album.
This is off the last album that he released sometime back in 2016, 2015, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Loved that. It was fantastic. One of the greatest, amazing albums. Then again, it's Eric, eh? Everything he touches is good. Everything he does is good.
Surely. Oh, man, the Berkeley School of Music. Well, man, then where we arguing? Berkeley School of Music. Yeah.
But talking about school, welcome once again. Hashtag Amped with Andre. I feel like it's radio, but people can actually see us, so it's quite distorting and interesting. But speaking, wait,
I have to wear shoes to come on radio and be seen radio somewhere. You know, I'm wearing shoes, dressed up, showered, feel like, dude. And then it's weird because you actually have to freshen up, cologne, everything. And then you realize I'm in the house. But it's work.
This is a mystery. A lot of people were asking, why are you wearing hats? And I'm telling them I'm wearing hats because it's not only a fashion statement. I haven't seen my barber for the past 4 months. So I have a hairstyle. Not quite the one that I would actually want, but it's a hairstyle nonetheless. So bear with me. And we said we're going to have a segment where it's Makbul's hat today. You can see, right? Sponsored by. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But speaking of working from home and doing things from home, I've been doing this now for 4 weeks, and every time we do the show, these guys are usually standing by the side. Not because of anything. Hi, this is my son, by the way. Hi, son.
Hi, son.
So,
well, hang on. Is that number 1 son or number 2 son?
This is number 1 son. Number 2 son usually will come and climb on my head to make a statement and be seen. He's trying to create his brand early enough, and the only way to work that is with daddy. And it's I, at least, my work doesn't entail that I'm so serious. So even if they come into my world, it's actually a plus and people see it. It's fun and they say hi to my kids and whatnot. But in other professions, it's not as easy working from home. How do you, one, ensure that you're as productive at home as you are in the office in doing your assignments and finishing your assignments? Two, homeschooling. I'll be honest. Homeschooling for me has ended. Now it's control of Fortnite, Brawlhalla, and all those amazing games. How do you deal with this at home?
So I'm homeschooling as well. Yes, one of mine is around about the age of that one that you just seen pop through, and happily. The school's actually coordinated something, okay, but I've done this homeschooling thing before. So parents who are homeschooling right now, come, let me tell you something. The idea that you're going to homeschool with textbooks, forget in advance. Be easy, relax. Not gonna happen. Do you know how I taught my boy to read? Asterix. Asterix was our go-to book. So Asterix, because he loved Asterix and he still does. So Asterix has history, it's got geography, it's got science, it's got math, and it's got English. Plus, it's got random things like that at sign and whatnot.
Yes. Yeah.
So child-based learning has just kicked in. The one thing is, okay, if you turn off the Brawlhalla and whatnot and this and that, or if they do have to do it, then they've got to have 40 minutes of them writing their own program. Then suddenly they're learning something. Okay, so right now Asterix is in Gaul, right? Where is Gaul? So now we have to open the atlas, figure out where it is. It's in France. What's the capital of France? How far is France from Kenya? How many is that in kilometers? How many is that in miles, etc., etc.? And suddenly you've got a full lesson. But the thing is, it requires that you be there, which is the difficulty, because as parents we've got to work as well. We've got to keep being productive. We've got to keep doing what it is that we're doing. Now, I can't state for everyone because different professions require different things. But this is a time of utmost discipline. Whatever it was that you were supposed to output, if you've got to wake up at midnight and do it then, if you are a morning person and you're the kind of people who, like me, at 4 a.m., you're like, ping, energize the body now.
Yes.
Much to the annoyance of Makbul when we were in studio together.
Every morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I'm like, do you not have a down day?
That's when you wake up and that's when you do what you do. And if you need to sleep during the day because that's the kind of person you are, that's what happens. This is a new normal. Stop trying to make things what they used to be before, because they're not. And they won't be. And if your baby's going to show up in the video as, they may from time to time, all you do is just say to them, listen, mom has got to work. Daddy's got to work. Now, work equals money equals keeping the lights on. So you're going to have to give me an hour. And then after that hour, and go check on the clock. And this is where discipline comes in. Go check on the clock. After that hour, I'm coming out and we're skipping 10 times. And then I've got to go back on. Because even in the office, we don't work in a straight line.
Yes.
No. We've got to call for tea, got to go chat with our colleagues. That's, But there's something else that I wanted to get back to just a little bit, because you've mentioned it, and you've mentioned it a number of times. And it's also to do with these new times, is everything now revolves around what is most important. Suddenly, our most intimate relationships are the most important thing. That those kids who are next to you, it's them really understanding, okay, what does work look like? And it might just be that you need to invite them onto work. Let me tell you, there are times that I have done Zoom meetings or, streaming. And I'm just I can tell that they're bored and they want to come and interact with me. Fine, come and hold the camera. The other one, sit over there and start editing. This is work now. Yeah. And you've got to do what you've got to do to incorporate them. But also inside of all of that, don't forget some time for yourself. Because this is intense. and it's new and it's different. And if you think about it, we're waking up in the morning to go and sit down at the breakfast table, then to move that same breakfast table into your work table. So we're sat so much. And what that's going to do in terms of health, we don't yet know. So take time, even if it's those 15 minutes, to step outside to go and take a walk. Or, as I've done in my house, build like a gunia garden. You know, the ones with like sacks and skumas growing out of the side. Whatever it is that you've got to do. But be really creative in taking care of your mental health. Because if you're not, then you're going to come out of it worse off. But the one thing is, this is a new normal. Whatever worked in the past, that's over. That's over. Whatever your client expected and expected in the same way they expected this in the past, you're going to need to manage those expectations as they are going to need to manage theirs as well. Because we've never lived through a global pandemic. We're figuring it out as we go. And the rules, the pre-pandemic rules, the BC rules, before Corona.
Are not gonna work.
They're not going to work here. They're not. Not at all. So,
thou shalt
figure
be
it out.
saved.
Yes. Hi, sweetie, in the meantime.
Say hi.
Hi.
Awesome. Yeah. New ways of dealing with things. Go on.
So, other things about what we should be celebrating. You know, for the longest time, we've been talking about in Africa, we've got a problem. We've got too many young people and, you know, we don't have enough jobs for our millennials, etc. This is wonderful in a sense. And I know I'm about to sound very controversial, so just bear with me. Let me say it. And then after that, you know, you can just go onto Twitter and Facebook and just beat me up. It's okay. But here's what's wonderful about not having the same opportunities that there were before. For a very long time, because we've been graduating people who didn't expect to work, they were just hustling. Now is the time to turn that side hustle into a main hustle. Because you already have it within you, that entrepreneurial spirit. Before you were doing it, maybe because you were too worried about, you know, you need pocket money or you don't want to be in your parents' face or whatever it is, you're trying to make do and to get by. Now is the time to be brave enough to turn that side hustle into a full-on main hustle. Whatever it is. Look at the situation in Nairobi with food. There's so much opportunity right here. Suddenly, we're not getting food in as we used to, from especially outside of Nairobi. We've got to rethink how we're doing that. Isn't this the perfect time to start canning, to start tinning, to start preserving, to start sun drying, and to start producing food that lasts a bit longer? And yes, we can go about it in that, you know, it's got to be very heavily manufactured, blah, 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 all of those things that private equity people will want to tell you before they invest in your business. No, imagine, start with like 2 jars of tins of tomatoes and start from that, because every business starts there. We now know that we can't rely on manufacturing in other countries. It's going to have to be manufacturing here. I applaud everyone who's been stitching face masks and who's been making sanitizers and who's been thinking, okay, what else do we need? If we think along those lines continuously, can we freeze dry skuma wiki? I don't know. But it's those kind of things now and that kind of thinking that's going to get us up. I can assure you this, our economy going forward is not going to be built by what we have brought in from other countries, from China, from the US, from like the imports in the way we had before. Now going forward, our basic cottage industries are going to hold up this economy. So for everyone who's thinking, man, I had a side hustle, now it's gone to pot, just change the side hustle. Or look at it again and ask, how can I deliver differently? Do you have a boda boda? Immediately, transport has become so vital. Do you have a computer? What is it that you can do on it that can churn out material that is required for other people?
That is the way to go.
It's a new normal. Jump in there. Fail quickly. Don't worry, you're going to fail. So relax, huh? Fail quickly, fail forward, fail fast. So you can get round to being fully self-expressed and making some money for you in this time. The old order is out. It's a new order.
Hey, I told you guys, explosive she is. Dynamic is a word that we use to incorporate all the words together. She is that. And we'll continue in a short while. I just want to switch tact before I know the producer is going to be asking us in a short while wrap up. But we'll get into music in a short while, come back, and then talk about mental health. It is Mental Awareness Month, and it is vital that we talk about it now more so than ever, because these calmer moments are the ones that you go into your head and you find out exactly what you've been struggling with. When the noise goes down is when you understand what problems you're going through. Personally, it has been an amazing journey. It has been a revealing journey, but we'll come back and share some of that, and you can let us know as well. As there's a question, we'll answer when we come back as well. This is for you as well, Renee. This is about group actualization, as I mentioned earlier on, and getting married being one of them. Question is, so the church outside my building held a wedding on Saturday, and I really struggled to understand it. In this time of COVID, is the wedding really that necessary? Even the restrictions of just 10 people, how important are things we have chosen to continue doing? How important are they? So note that, Renee, when we come back, we shall answer that. Hashtag amped with Andre, Mukul, and Renee. We'll be back.
Andre Addiction.
Miaka zinapita na mambo ni yale yale, tunasulubiwa kwa manufaa ya wengine. Wakoloni walienda, ukoloni bado upo. Wakoloni weusi wa mongoni mwako, ahadi zao wanasema hawaweki, ahadi wao wamegeuka sio deni, ahadi zao wanasema hawaweki, ahadi wao I say man, tuko shamba la wanyama, nguruwe ndiye mfalme na taji la dhahabu. I say man, tuko shamba la wanyama, nguruwe ndiye mfalme, nguruwe binadamu. Ganga mashuhuri toka Tanga kule, anayedawa tosha Bongo asigange, wizi wa kalamu na maisha yote ndo shida yangu, sasa nipe chanje. Ahadi yako ulisema hauweki, ahadi yako imegeuka sio deni, wewe ahadi yako ulisema hauweki, ahadi yako imegeuka sio deni. I say tuko shamba la wanyama, nguruwe ndiye mfalme na taji la dhahabu. I say tuko shamba la wanyama.
Baba na mama walinihusia ewe kijana, kuwa mwanangu jione dunia ina mambo yao sikuyasikiza. Sasa mimi najuta, kweli najionea dunia ina mambo. Walinambia kijana, jihadhari na walimwengu, hao walimwengu si wazuri kwako kijana, yao sikuyasikiza. Sasa mimi najuta, kweli najionea dunia ina mambo.
wakiniona waniona na aibu sana. Wase wangu kwa mtaa wanawika bana. Siku hizi naogopa kuomba Bwana. Juu hata mfuko za wakora za imba hosana. Walinipa uongo na mi nikakubali, nikamfuata nyuki nikalimwa na asali. Weka tumbo mbele, wacha kili nyuma. Mighty Cavaliers walisema sikusikiza. Oh,
baba na mama walinigusia ewe kijana, kuwa mwanangu jione dunia ina mambo yao sikuyasikiza. Sasa mimi najuta, kweli najionea dunia ina mambo. Dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo bana. Dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo sana. Dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo bana. Dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo.
Nafunga bao, nitapita dao. Ubaya binadamu ni rahisi kusahau. Changu ni chetu lakini chako ni chako. Mtu wangu wacha vako. Marafiki wamekuwa manafiki bana. Najionea tena kushangaa sana. Niliacha kuwa mjinga ati sasa najiringa. Ukistajabu ya Musa ya Firauni bado.
Walinambia kijana jihadhari na ulimwengu. Hao walimwengu si wazuri kwako kijana. Yao sikuyasikiza. Sasa mimi najuta, kweli najionea dunia ina mambo. Dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo bana. Dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo sana. Dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo, dunia ina mambo bana. Dunia ina mambo.
Ningepotea nisipatikane, lakini Mungu halali. Nasema kweli Mungu halali. Mungu halali.
Catch Andre at Andre Addiction on Instagram and at Andre Flavor on Twitter.
Si lazima useme tu mnyonge kweli hana haki. Naona kila siku, tunaona kila siku. Kwa neema nasimama, ila mwamba ni salama. Binadamu hanitishi, natembea kwa imani. Kwa neema nasimama, ila mwamba ni salama. Binadamu hanitishi, mimi natembea kwa imani. Nimepitia majanga makubwa lakini Mungu halali. Ningepotea nisipatikane, lakini Mungu halali. Nasema kweli Mungu halali. Mungu halali. Ashajionyesha, anajionyesha,
I let it extra when I'm in that zone. And right now, y'all rocking with who? That is all Baba Joe. And at the peak is where I aim for. You already know.
Success is poisonous. So many people keep hating on us. Open your eyes to the backstabbers. Open your ears to the backbiters. So Jah guide us, ndani ya matatu. Tukachezwa kwa matatu. Ona leo tunachorwa kwa matatu. Damu jasho na machozi tu mwanangu. Uliza kiatu. I've been on the grind. So much to do, so little time. I'm only trying to get what's mine before we can finish line. And I'm having a good time. I hope I get to see you again. Hope I get to see you again when the lights fly. I hope I get to see you again. Hope I get to see you again. You know, they never know the story of us before the glory. I do it all again. I wish we could rewind.
My fans wanasema mouthful so sweet na wanashindwa tukutema dena inabidi tukumeza matema chungu tukiwasifu tu mahera cause they can never let us go so inabidi to explore in situation to before you get toxic hey nahitaji my good vibes in my lifetime you're my only hope baby you are my lifeline keep you in my zone in a me lifetime, and we can make it all the way. But they never know the story of us before the glory, and I do it all again. I wish we could rewind. Yeah, I wish we could rewind. Rewind. Yeah. I wish we could rewind.
Positive, this something I will live to remember. Leonin, I feel Kabazanga. I'm thinking I'ma stay lit till December. Beside me, is a shorty ready, kuni kiss, Nicky Sama. Camela nin gozi rangi chocolate. Mi apocado chichonyanya like a bobo rasta. I'm hella happy, no si shiki moto faster. Nasijatoa tint, isn't it effects a cocoa butter?